I'm just a 15-year-old kid, and this is the edge of my burrito. Have you ever heard a story about a teacher's past that was so profound, so intriguing, that you never saw them in the same way ever again? Like the history teacher who used to be a stripper to pay for student loans. Or how about the PE teacher who used to be an FBI agent and rumored to have killed 12 people using just a USB stick? Well, let me tell you a story about Mr. Mackelby. Mr. Mackelby was my science teacher at Valleymont High last year. He was your typical high school teacher, boring, unassuming, with no passion for life, nor teaching. The first time I attended his class, I must admit, I wasn't impressed. What stood in front of me was a middle-aged, balding man with no particular style, no particular charisma, and based on his protruding belly, no particular diet restriction. From the way he talked, to the way his mustache blended into his nose hairs, nothing seemed remarkable about him, although he did look like a cross between a Padlock and Tyrion from Game of Thrones. We all secretly called him Mr. Mackelby because he had a funny limp whenever he walked into the classroom. But that didn't stop him from exerting his force as a teacher, as he had the tendency to fail students without hesitation. Like the time he failed Adam Steggles, the class clown, for making funny noises during class. But he wasn't always serious though. In fact, he did have a nice side to him, as I found out one semester when he drew a big happy smiley face on my exam paper next to that F. The only interesting fact about Mr. Mackelby was that he also happened to be a former graduate at Valleymont High and experienced the Great Earthquake of '86. You see, during the summer of '86, Valleymont High had been damaged by an earthquake that left several students injured and one casualty in its aftermath. The destruction was so devastating, the school dance hall needed to be completely rebuilt. But that fact didn't change the way I thought about Mr. Mackelby whatsoever. That is, until one day, I heard a rumor that Mr. Mackelby was once part of a dance act in high school. Now at that point, the thought of my science teacher having once had the ability to defy gravity and lift himself into midair to perform a coherent dance move was inconceivable. I mean, who would possibly believe something crazy like that? Then again, last week's rumor did make today's school signboard. It turned out that Adam Steggles heard a rumor from his neighbor, who heard it from his sister, who heard it from a co-worker who had rummaged through some old videotapes, which led to a startling discovery. And that discovery was an old local news footage that documented the story of a 16-year-old dance prodigy at Valleymont High, a student by the name of Milton S. Mackelby. As the news footage revealed, Milton S. Mackelby had started out as a straight-A student, until one day something changed his life forever. It was called breakdancing, a dance trend that exploded onto every street corner across the country, and no kid was more enchanted than Milton. And thus marked the exact moment a naive kid dropped his books and picked up an attitude. Instead of studying hard at school, Milton started practicing his dance moves day in and day out. Nothing could interfere with his dream of becoming a dancer. Finally, months of dedication saw him transform from a straight-A nerd to a fully fledged b-boy. With his newly developed talent and athletic agility, Milton participated in numerous high school talent shows and to his surprise had won them all. Soon, word spread about his consecutive wins, and from that moment on, he was known as Streak. With a newfound attitude and swagger, Streak now had the ambition to conquer the world. And just when he thought things couldn't get much better for Streak, he met a monkey named Scribbles, who also displayed exceptional dance talent. And together, they formed the ultimate dance act, Streak and Scribbles. Streak and Scribbles made headlines all across town as they showcased their signature dance style together. They wasted no time promoting themselves and signed up for every dance competition they could attend. One of them was a talent show at none other than Valleymont High. When Streak and Scribbles first walked onto that stage at Valleymont Dance Hall, they knew it was gonna be a special show, but little did they know it would end up with a big bang. And as the duo performed their dance routine, an earthquake suddenly ripped through the neighborhood. Streak jumped off the stage with a twisted ankle, but sadly, Scribbles did not make it. After that tragic incident, Streak never entered a dance competition ever again. I must admit, the rumor about Mr. Mackelby was thoroughly entertaining, although a bit outlandish to say the least. But as per usual, in Valleymont fashion, that rumor ended up trending. Soon, word spread about Mr. Mackelby's colorful past, and all my classmates were curious to know whether the story was true. So one afternoon during science class, we all bombarded Mackelby with questions about his past. We asked him about his hobbies at school. He replied with, "I liked reading." We then asked him whether he had attended any school dances. He then replied, "Dancing is a waste of time." In between our continued interruptions, we realized that extracting the truth from Mr. Mackelby was harder than expected. Eventually, somebody from the back row mentioned Scribbles, in which Mr. Mackelby replied, "Stop making those silly monkey noises, Mr. Adam Steggles." When class ended, we decided to make one last attempt at finding proof. During lunch break, we all stood outside the classroom window where Mr. Mackelby was marking some papers. And as he looked at us through the window with a vacant stare, we broke out into dance. Throughout my teenage years, I'd never really acquired the talent for dancing, mostly because I had dedicated all my time towards developing my other natural talents, called online gaming. But there I was, side by side with my classmates, waving my limbs in an awkward yet succinct fashion. The plan was to perform a dance sequence that was so infectious, so profound, it would lure Mr. Mackelby towards it and release a suppressed dancer within him. It was a difficult task to achieve, but our repeated attempts at what seemed like a cross between Gangnam Style and the chicken dance seemed to have paid off. Mr. Mackelby stood up from his chair, stepped forward, and with a deep breath, he did something that nobody expected. He slowly extended his arm above his head in a coordinated manner and then proceeded to pull down the blinds. After that incident, the rumor about Mr. Mackelby had been quashed and everybody's interest faded away. Besides, everyone at school was now talking about the upcoming talent show that had been organized as part of the dance hall's 30th anniversary. And as you'll soon find out, that talent show was to become the most memorable event to have ever occurred at Valemount High. Well, besides the earthquake of '86. On a warm August night, 500 people packed into the Valemount dance hall to see the most anticipated talent show of the year. With a spotlight being shone down on center stage, a sense of excitement permeated the room. I sat comfortably on my seat and prepared myself for a fun-filled night of dancing, singing, and people queuing to use the bathroom. And as the night progressed, I had the pleasure of witnessing a slew of amateur performances, including a spinning act with a wardrobe malfunction, a Shakespeare recital with a wardrobe malfunction, and a magic trick gone wrong which left behind a dead rabbit. Even Adam Steggles made a cameo with his impressions of monkey sounds, which sadly was turning out to be the best act of the night. And with a look of unimpressed faces that filled the room, I knew it was going to be a long night ahead. That is, until the next act mysteriously stepped onto the stage. And just like that, an anonymous figure emerged from the shadows without a sound nor introduction. Nobody recognized who this person was, as his identity was obscured by the retro 80s outfit he wore. But the way he walked onto the stage seemed oddly familiar to me. With the audience looking on with curiosity, he then pressed the play button on his boombox and to the sounds of a hip-hop beat, stood there, motionless. A few moments had passed, and the audience were left wondering what they were witnessing. Then, without warning, the mysterious figure leapt into the air like a bolt of lightning, spread his legs wide apart, and proceeded to dance spectacularly. We all watched in awe as his body moved rhythmically like a dolphin swimming underwater. His arms jerked passionately like Picasso painting a masterpiece. His feet shuffled gracefully like a champion boxer. And just like a stage hypnotist, it was absolutely mesmerizing to watch. He executed all his dance moves with technical prowess. The jackhammer, the windmill, the elbow hop. By the time he reached his encore, he had all four limbs in the air as he spun upside down like a helicopter. And much to the audience's delight, he finished that off with a double backflip. The 3.5-minute dance routine ended with a rapturous applause. It was raw, it was bold, it was the most breathtaking display of dance anyone had ever seen. Then, just like a ghost, the mysterious figure left the stage and vanished into obscurity. He didn't even reveal his identity, nor did he claim his first prize trophy that night. It was as if he didn't care about winning and just wanted to dance. The following day, everyone at school was raving on about the talent show. In fact, it made the school signboard for weeks on end. It truly did end up becoming the most memorable event at Valemount High. Eventually, things settled down and everything went back to normal. Then one day, someone discovered an old yearbook in the library archives. An old yearbook that contained pictures of past Valemount High School students, one of which was Mr. Mackelby. From then on, nobody called him Mr. Mackelby ever again. Instead, we called him Mr. Streak. Well, that's the end of this story. I hope it was helpful in giving you some insights into the mysteries of life. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a 15-year-old kid.